My name is Jack, 42 years old, and for 15 years I believed my wife Rachel was the person I knew better than anyone. I was wrong about every single day of those 15 years. It started on a Thursday night in my own kitchen. Rachel walked in after midnight, sat across from me in that green dress, and calmly told me she wanted to spend weekends with her ex-boyfriend. Like she was requesting a schedule change. What did I actually know? Security footage of his Maserati in my driveway. Screenshots of her mocking me to friends. Audio of her saying she settled for safe and boring. Within 72 hours, she lost her job, her reputation, her home. And Ethan? That Saturday morning at the community festival, he was casually sipping craft beer, arm around my wife, completely unaware I was already 3 steps ahead. Before we get into this, please take a moment to like and subscribe. But only if this story truly resonates with you. And drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to know where you are right now. I'm sitting in my kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning, staring at the smart home display I installed last month, watching the security cameras cycle through empty rooms. Rachel thinks I'm obsessing over gadgets again. She has no idea I'm documenting everything now. The front door opens with that soft electronic chime I programmed. Rachel stumbles in, heels clicking against the hardwood, that particular laugh still echoing from her phone call in the driveway. She thinks I'm asleep. I used to be back when I trusted her enough to sleep. Jack. Her voice carries that fake sweetness she uses when she's been drinking with her friends. Baby, you awake? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I don't answer immediately. Let her wonder. Let her feel that tiny spike of uncertainty she's been giving me for months. She finds me in the dark kitchen, illuminated only by the blue glow of my tablet. Rachel, still beautiful at 39, still turns heads when we go out together. Her auburn hair catches the light, and her green dress hugs curves that haven't changed since we met 15 years ago. But beauty without loyalty is just expensive wrapping paper around a bomb. There you are. She slides onto the bar stool across from me, setting down her designer purse with a soft thud. You're up late. Couldn't sleep. I keep my voice neutral. Engineering calm. How was girls' night? Rachel's smile widens and I see that glint in her eyes. The one that means she's about to push another boundary, test another limit. She's been doing this more frequently lately, like she's conducting some twisted experiment on our marriage. Actually, I need to talk to you about something. She leans forward, elbows on the granite countertop. I've been thinking about us, about our relationship, and I think we need more honesty. Here it comes. I've learned to recognize the setup. I spent tonight with Ethan. The name hits like a small electric shock, but I keep my expression blank. Ethan Cross, her ex-boyfriend from college. The entrepreneur with the expensive car and the gym membership that costs more than most people's rent. Okay, I say simply. Rachel blinks, clearly expecting more reaction. Jack, I said I spent the night with Ethan. I heard you. She shifts on the stool, her confidence wavering slightly. We talked about old times, about what we used to have, and I realized something important about myself, about what I need. I close the tablet and give her my full attention. What do you need, Rachel? Freedom. Honesty, the ability to explore connections without feeling guilty. Her words come faster now, like she's rehearsed this speech. I want to spend weekends with him sometimes, not to hurt you, but to be true to myself. The silence stretches between us. 15 years of marriage and she's asking permission to cheat. No, not asking, telling me the difference is important. You're absolutely right, I finally say. Rachel's eyes widen. I am. You're spot on. We definitely need more honesty in this relationship. She relaxes, that triumphant smile returning. She thinks she's won. She thinks I'm the same pushover who's been absorbing her boundary pushing for the past 2 years. Ever since her promotion made her feel invincible. I'm so glad you understand, Jack. I was worried you'd be jealous or possessive. Not at all. I stand up stretching casually. In fact, I think this honesty thing is exactly what we needed. I walk around the counter and kiss her forehead, breathing in her perfume mixed with wine and something else. Someone else's cologne, probably. I'm going to grab some things from the workshop and head out early tomorrow. Work project on Saturday. You know how it is. Home automation systems don't install themselves. I pause at the kitchen doorway. Enjoy your weekend with Ethan. Rachel's smile falters slightly. Something in my tone, maybe, but she's too tipsy and too pleased with herself to analyze it properly. Where are you going? Honestly, I'm not sure yet, but don't worry about me. Focus on your truth and your freedom and all that. I head downstairs to my workshop, leaving Rachel alone with her victory. She has no idea what she's just unleashed. My basement workshop is organized chaos. Circuit boards, tablets, security equipment, and the kind of tools that come from 20 years in military engineering, followed by a decade building smart home systems for Portland's wealthy suburbanites. Rachel calls it my man cave, but it's really my command center. I pull out my laptop and start typing. First, an email to Rachel's boss at Morrison PR using the template I created weeks ago when I first suspected something was happening. Hi, Janet. I need to take Monday off for a family emergency. Thanks, Rachel. Send. Next, I access our home security system and download the last month of footage. Rachel thinks the cameras are just for burglary protection. She doesn't know about the audio recording or the backup system that saves everything to my private server. I find what I'm looking for in last Tuesday's footage. Rachel on the phone in our bedroom talking to someone in a voice I barely recognize. He has no idea, Jade. Jack's so focused on his little gadgets, he wouldn't notice if I brought Ethan home for dinner. Laughter from both ends of the call. I know I should feel guilty, but honestly, I feel more alive than I have in years. Ethan makes me remember who I used to be before I settled for safe and boring. More laughter. Jack's a good provider, but God, he's predictable. Same routine every day, same conversation, same everything. When Ethan kisses me, I actually feel something. I stop the playback and save the file. Evidence for later. My phone buzzes. A text from Simon, my old army buddy, who now runs a private security firm in town. You awake? Need to blow off some steam at Murphy's? I consider it. Then text back. Rain check. Starting a new project tonight. Might need your expertise soon. Roger that. You know where to find me. Simon's one of the few people who knows the real Jack Mallory. Not the quiet, accommodating husband everyone sees, but the guy who used to defuse bombs in Iraq and later design security systems that could stop professional thieves. When I focus on a problem, I solve it completely. I spend the next 2 hours organizing files, creating folders, and planning. By the time I'm done, dawn is creeping through the small basement windows. Upstairs, Rachel is snoring softly in our bed, still in her green dress. Her phone is on the nightstand, unlocked. She's always been careless with technology. I scroll through her recent messages. Ethan, of course, photos I won't describe, plans I wish I hadn't read, but also messages with Jade, her best friend, and Oliver from her office. A whole support network helping her justify her choices. Jack's so clueless, she texted Jade yesterday. I could probably bring Ethan to our anniversary dinner and he'd just ask about his business. LOL, you're terrible, Jade replied. But seriously, you deserve better. Life's too short to waste on boring. I screenshot everything and email the files to myself, then delete the sent messages from her phone. Finally, I write a note on kitchen stationery and leave it on the counter where she'll see it. Thanks for the clarity, Jay. I pack a bag, grab my laptop and some equipment, and load everything into my truck. Before I leave, I use my phone to activate the house's vacation mode. All the smart systems I've installed over the years will now track everything. Motion sensors, door logs, audio recording in common areas. If Rachel wants honesty, she's about to get more than she bargained for. I'm pulling out of the driveway when my phone buzzes with a call from Rachel. I let it go to voicemail, then listen to the message while I drive toward town. Jack, what the hell? My phone is acting weird. And what does your note mean? Call me back. I delete the voicemail and keep driving. Murphy's Bar opens at 7 a.m. for the construction crews and early shift workers. Simon's already there nursing coffee and reading something on his tablet. He looks up when I walk in, takes one look at my face, and signals the bartender for 2 Wisey's. Talk, he says. I tell him everything, the boundaries, the honesty speech, the evidence I've gathered. Simon listens without interruption, occasionally nodding or grimacing. So, what's the play? He asks when I'm finished. I'm going to give her exactly what she asked for. Complete honesty, total transparency. No more pretending I don't see what's happening. And then I finish my whiskey and look at my oldest friend. And then I'm going to remind everyone in this town that the quiet guy isn't always the weak guy. Simon grins. When do we start? By noon, my phone has 17 missed calls from Rachel. I'm sitting in Simon's office, surrounded by surveillance equipment and tactical planning boards that remind me of our military days. The difference is this time we're not defusing bombs in Baghdad. We're defusing my marriage in suburban Maine. She's getting desperate, Simon observes, watching my phone light up with another call. Left 3 voicemails in the last hour. Let her panic. She wanted freedom and honesty. Now she gets to experience the consequences of both. Simon pulls up a map of our neighborhood on his computer. Okay, so we've got your house wired for sound and video. What's next? Phase 2, Community Awareness. I show him the photos I took this morning before coming here. Rachel's car is gone from our driveway, but there's a silver Maserati parked 2 houses down. Same car I've seen there 3 times this week. Always when Rachel's home alone. Ethan's not very subtle, Simon notes. Neither is Rachel. She left her laptop open yesterday. Email thread with Jade about how to manage Jack during her transition to an open marriage. She actually used those words. Her exact phrase was keeping him calm while I explore my options. Like I'm a pet that might bite if startled. Simon leans back in his chair. You know, in the army we had a saying about people who underestimate the quiet ones. What's that? They don't stay quiet forever. My phone rings again. This time it's not Rachel. It's Mrs. Penn, our 70-year-old neighbor who knows everything that happens on our street. Jack dear, is everything all right? Rachel came by this morning asking if I'd seen you, and she seemed quite upset. Everything's fine, Mrs. Penn. Just a little marital disagreement. Well, I hope you work it out. Though, I have to say that young man with the fancy car has been visiting quite frequently lately. Not that it's any of my business, of course. Of course not. Thanks for calling, Mrs. Penn. I hang up and look at Simon. Phase 2 is already starting itself. Small towns, Simon says with a grin. Got to love them. We spend the next hour planning. Simon's security background means he knows exactly how to gather information without breaking any laws. My engineering background means I know how to use technology to make people's lives very complicated. First step, I say, pulling up Rachel's social media on my laptop. She's been posting photos with Jade and Oliver talking about living authentically and embracing change. Her followers are eating it up. Suburban housewives love a good rebellion story, Simon agrees. Right up until they realize what she's actually rebelling against. I show Simon a post from 2 days ago. Rachel at an expensive restaurant, wine glass raised. Caption reading, sometimes you have to break the rules to find yourself. No regrets. Authentic life. The comments are full of supportive friends and acquaintances. You go, girl. And living your best life. And so inspiring. They think she's talking about a career change or a new hobby. Simon observes. Exactly. They have no idea she's talking about cheating on her husband. I screenshot the post and several others, then start crafting my own social media strategy. Nothing direct, nothing that could be called harassment, just context. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Ethan. We need to talk. I show Simon, who raises an eyebrow. How did he get your number? Rachel? Probably. She's panicking and bringing in reinforcements. I text back. Murphy's Bar 8 p.m. Come alone. You sure about this? Simon asks. I want to look him in the eye. See what kind of man thinks it's acceptable to sleep with another man's wife. And if he doesn't show, then I'll know he's a coward as well as a cheater. The afternoon passes quickly. Simon helps me install additional monitoring equipment in my truck and gives me a crash course in some of the more advanced surveillance techniques his company uses. Nothing illegal, but definitely more sophisticated than your average civilian would know. At 6 p.m., I drive back to my neighborhood. Rachel's car is in the driveway now, and I can see her silhouette in the living room window, probably calling everyone she knows, trying to figure out what went wrong with her perfect plan. I park across the street and call her. Jack, finally, where are you? What's going on? I'm exactly where you wanted me to be, Rachel. Out of your way. That's not I didn't mean she's crying now, but I can hear the anger underneath. You can't just disappear like this. We need to talk. We talked last night. You were very clear about what you wanted. I wanted honesty, not abandonment. You're getting honesty. This is me being honest about how I feel about your weekend plans. Silence for a long moment. Then Jack, please come home. We can work this out. Can we? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've already worked everything out. Ethan's car has been in our neighborhood 4 times this week. Mrs. Penn noticed. The Johnsons noticed. Pretty soon, everyone will notice. You're being ridiculous. Am I? Check your work email, Rachel. I hang up and watch through my truck's tinted windows as she frantically grabs her laptop. It takes her 3 minutes to find the fake sick day email I sent this morning. Her silhouette goes rigid. My phone rings immediately. You sent a fake email to my boss. I sent an honest email about your priorities. You wanted to spend the day with Ethan instead of going to work. I just made sure your schedule was clear. Jack, that could get me fired. Then you should probably call Janet and explain the situation. Tell her all about your need for honesty and authenticity. Another long silence. What do you want? She finally asks. I want you to experience the full consequences of your choices. No safety net, no backup plan, no husband quietly covering for you while you figure yourself out. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. Isn't that what you wanted? I hang up again and drive to Murphy's Bar. Ethan is already there looking uncomfortable in his expensive casual wear. He's younger than I expected, maybe 35, with a kind of sculpted physique that comes from personal trainers and supplements. His dark hair is perfectly styled, and his watch probably costs more than my truck. He stands when he sees me, extending a hand. Jack, right? I'm Ethan. I ignore the handshake and take the bar stool next to him. I know who you are. The bartender, Mike, nods at me. The usual. 2 Wisey's, top shelf. I look at Ethan. You're buying. Ethan shifts uncomfortably, but signals his agreement to Mike. Look, Jack, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Has there? Explain it to me. Rachel and I, we have history. We're reconnecting as friends. I pull out my phone and open the folder of screenshots I took from Rachel's messages. I slide the phone across to Ethan, showing him a particularly explicit conversation from 3 days ago. His face goes pale. That's not. He starts to speak, then stops. Friends, I finish. Is that what you call it? I scroll to another message. This one from Rachel to Jade. Ethan's everything Jack isn't. Confident, successful, exciting. I feel like I'm 25 again when I'm with him. Ethan pushes the phone back to me. This is between you and Rachel. No, it's between all 3 of us now. You made it that way when you decided my wife was available. The bar is filling up with the afterwork crowd. A few people I recognize from the neighborhood. Some I don't. All potential witnesses to whatever happens next. What do you want from me? Ethan asks. I finish my whiskey and stand up. I want you to understand something. Rachel thinks I'm predictable, boring, safe. She thinks I'll just quietly accept whatever she decides to do. I lean closer to Ethan, lowering my voice so only he can hear. She's wrong. I'm not safe. I'm controlled. There's a difference. And my control is slipping. I drop a 20 on the bar and walk toward the exit. Behind me. I hear Ethan call out, Jack, wait. I turn back. What are you going to do? I smile and I see him flinch slightly. I'm going to be honest, completely brutally honest with everyone. Saturday morning brings rain and the annual Millfield Community Festival, which means half the town will be gathered in Riverside Park pretending to enjoy overpriced funnel cake and local craft booths. It's the perfect venue for what I have planned. Simon picks me up at 7 a.m. armed with coffee and a manila envelope that makes me smile. Please tell me you got everything, I say, accepting the coffee gratefully. Better than everything. I got video. He shows me his tablet. Crystal clear footage of Ethan's Maserati pulling into my driveway yesterday afternoon, followed by Rachel running out to meet him. They embrace, kiss, and disappear into my house for 3 hours. Motion sensors picked up activity in your bedroom, Simon adds casually. Audio is a bit muffled, but the context is pretty clear. And the neighbors? Mrs. Penn was gardening the entire time. Perfect view of your front door. The Johnsons were washing their car in the driveway. Half the street saw him come and go. I leaned back in the passenger seat, feeling something that might be satisfaction. Phase 3 begins today. The festival is already crowded when we arrive at 9 a.m. Families with strollers, teenagers in groups, older couples walking hand in hand, the kind of wholesome community gathering that Rachel loves because it makes her feel like she's living in a Norman Rockwell painting. We set up near the main pavilion where the acoustic stage ensures maximum visibility. Simon has his camera equipment, ostensibly for documenting the festival. I have my laptop and a portable printer that connects to my phone's hotspot. There, Simon says, nodding toward the craft beer tent. Rachel and Ethan are standing together looking like the perfect couple. She's wearing a sundress despite the overcast sky, and he's got his arm around her waist with casual ownership. They're talking to Jade and Oliver, laughing about something. She posted about coming here on Instagram this morning. I tell Simon, tagged Ethan, and use the hashtag New Beginnings. Subtle. She thinks I'm at home sulking. Or maybe she hopes I am. I watch them for a few minutes, noting how comfortable they look together, how natural, like they've been a couple for months instead of a secret for weeks. Mrs. Penn appears at my elbow, seemingly from nowhere. Jack, dear, I didn't expect to see you here, especially not after yesterday's excitement. Excitement? She glances meaningfully toward Rachel and Ethan. Well, with all the coming and going at your house, that young man's car was there for quite a while. Her voice carries just enough to reach the couple standing near us, who turn to look. I recognize them as the Hendersons from 2 streets over. Oh, that I say loudly enough to be overheard. Rachel's exploring new relationships. She believes in honesty and authenticity. Mrs. Penn's eyes widen. Oh my. Yes, she's been very open about her needs lately. I admire her courage. The Hendersons are staring now, and I see Mrs. Henderson whisper something to her husband. Within minutes, they'll be sharing this conversation with their friends. Simon appears with a funnel cake and a grin. Showtime. I nod and walk toward the craft beer tent. Rachel sees me coming and her face goes through several expressions in rapid succession. Surprise, guilt, defiance, and finally a forced smile. Jack, I didn't know you were coming. Wouldn't miss it. Community events are important. I extend my hand to Ethan. We met briefly last night. Ethan, right? He shakes my hand reluctantly. Right. Rachel's told me so much about you. Old college friends reconnecting, exploring authentic connections. It's beautiful, really. Jade and Oliver exchange glances. They know something's wrong, but they can't figure out what. Jack's being very supportive of my personal growth, Rachel says carefully. Absolutely. Marriage is about supporting each other's truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. I pull out my phone and open the photo gallery. Actually, I've been documenting Rachel's journey toward authenticity. Would you like to see? Jack, no. Rachel says quickly, but I'm already showing the phone to Jade. It's a screenshot of Rachel's Instagram post from yesterday. Sometimes the heart wants what it wants. No apologies. Live your truth. Such inspiring words, I say. Rachel's really embracing her authentic self. Ethan looks like he wants to disappear. A small crowd is gathering, drawn by the tension they can sense but not yet understand. Maybe we should talk privately, Rachel suggests. Why? You said you wanted honesty. This is me being honest about how proud I am of your courage. I raise my voice slightly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my wife, Rachel, and her boyfriend, Ethan. They're demonstrating that modern marriage can accommodate multiple relationships when people are brave enough to live authentically. The silence that follows is deafening. Rachel's face goes white, then red. Ethan takes a step backward. Jack, stop. Rachel hisses. Stop what? Stop supporting your choices. Stop admiring your honesty. Mrs. Penn has materialized again along with several other neighbors. Phones are coming out, cameras pointing our direction. This is what courage looks like, I continue, gesturing to Rachel and Ethan, refusing to be constrained by traditional expectations, living boldly regardless of who gets hurt. You're embarrassing yourself, Oliver says, but his voice lacks conviction. Am I? Or am I just being as honest as Rachel's been? I pull out the manila envelope Simon prepared and remove a printed photo. It shows Ethan's car in my driveway. Timestamp clearly visible. Yesterday afternoon, 3 hours. Very authentic. Rachel grabs for the photo, but I hold it out of reach. There are more, I say conversationally. Lots more. Weeks of authenticity carefully documented. Ethan finally finds his voice. You're insane. No, I'm thorough. It's an engineering thing. When I see a problem, I gather data before proposing solutions. I look around at the growing crowd of neighbors and acquaintances. The problem is that Rachel wanted to have an affair while maintaining her reputation as a loving wife. The solution is radical transparency. Jack, please, Rachel says, and now she's crying. Not here. Where then? At home, where you can control the narrative. In private, where you can manipulate the situation. I turn to address the crowd directly. How many of you have seen Ethan's car in my neighborhood lately? Several hands go up, including Mrs. Penn's. How many of you follow Rachel on social media and wondered what she meant by living authentically? More hands. Well, now you know. This is authentic Rachel. This is her truth. Ethan tries to grab my arm. That's enough. I twist away from his grip and step closer to him. Don't touch me. You've taken enough that doesn't belong to you. I didn't take anything. Rachel made her own choices. You're right. She chose to lie to me for weeks while planning her exit strategy. She chose to use our house for your meetings. She chose to mock me to her friends while I was providing the comfortable life that gave her the freedom to betray me. The crowd is completely silent now, hanging on every word. But mostly she chose to underestimate me. She thought I'd be quietly devastated. Maybe beg her to reconsider. Definitely not make a scene. I smile and several people step back. She was wrong about that, too. Rachel is sobbing now, mascara running down her cheeks. Jade has her arm around her, glaring at me with pure hatred. You're destroying her, Jade says. No, I'm revealing her. There's a difference. I look at Ethan, who's gone pale under his tan. You should probably leave town. This story is going to spread and I don't think your business reputation can survive being known as the guy who breaks up marriages. You can't threaten me. I'm not threatening you. I'm predicting the natural consequences of your choices. Small towns talk. Social media spread stories. Your clients will hear about this. I pull out my phone and show him a screenshot of his company's Yelp page. Especially when they start getting anonymous reviews about your character and business practices. That's illegal. Posting honest reviews? I don't think so. But you're welcome to call the police. Simon appears at my shoulder, no longer pretending to be a casual observer. Everything okay here, Jack? Perfect. Just having an honest conversation with my wife and her boyfriend. Rachel wipes her eyes and tries to compose herself. Jack, you've made your point. Can we please go home and talk about this privately? Home? You mean the house where you've been entertaining Ethan while I was at work? Where you recorded videos for him on our anniversary? Her face goes white again. How did I know everything, Rachel? Every message, every lie, every plan you made with your friends to manage me during your transition. I look around at the crowd one more time. The festival's great this year. You should all enjoy it. And don't worry about Rachel and me. We're just working through some marital honesty. I start to walk away, then turn back. Oh, and Ethan, next time you park in my neighborhood, you might want to remember that I installed most of the security systems on my street. Smile for the cameras. Simon and I walk toward the parking lot, leaving Rachel, Ethan, and their friends standing in the wreckage of their carefully constructed narrative. Behind us, I hear the crowd beginning to murmur, phones buzzing with texts and calls. By tonight, everyone in Millfield will know the truth about Rachel's authentic living. That was brutal, Simon observes. That was just the beginning. Sunday morning brings consequences. I'm sitting in my truck outside Rachel's office building, watching her try to maintain professional composure while her personal life explodes across social media. Through the glass doors, I can see her pacing behind the reception desk, phone pressed to her ear. My own phone has been buzzing since dawn with calls from mutual friends, relatives, and curious neighbors. I've ignored them all except one. Jack, this is Janet Morrison from Rachel's office. I need to speak with you about Friday's email and some developments over the weekend. I call her back immediately. Janet, this is Jack Mullally returning your call. Jack, thank you. I'll be direct. Did Rachel actually send that sick day email on Friday? No, I did. Silence on the other end. I see. And the situation that's being discussed on social media. All true. Rachel's been having an affair with Ethan Cross for several weeks. She told me Thursday night that she wanted to spend weekends with him. My God, Janet, I want to be clear about something. Rachel's personal choices are her own business, but she's been using work time and company resources to coordinate her affair. I have documentation if you need it. Another long pause. Send me whatever you have. Rachel's position requires a certain level of public trust. And if this situation becomes a liability, I understand. I'll email you within the hour. I hang up and start organizing the files on my laptop. Screenshots of Rachel using her work computer to message Ethan during business hours. Photos of them meeting for lunch when she was supposed to be with clients. A timeline showing how her business trips coincided with Ethan's travel schedule. While I work, I watch Rachel through the office windows. She's clearly in crisis mode, probably trying to control the narrative before it reaches her professional contacts. Too late for that. Simon pulls up next to my truck in his SUV. Phase 4. Phase 4. We drive to Ethan's condo complex, an upscale development on the outskirts of town. His Maserati is parked in its assigned spot, and lights are on in the third-floor unit that matches the address Simon found in his background check. Nice place, Simon observes. Expensive family money according to Rachel's messages. His startup failed last year, but he's got a trust fund. Rich boy playing with other people's marriages. Not for much longer. I pull out my phone and call Ethan directly. What do you want now? He sounds exhausted. I want to give you an opportunity to do the right thing, which is leave town, end this thing with Rachel, disappear from our lives. And if I don't, then I continue being honest about your character and business practices with everyone in your social and professional circles. You can't destroy my life because you can't satisfy your wife. The line goes quiet. Simon looks at me with concern. Ethan, that was a mistake. What? Insulting me? Making this personal instead of practical. I hang up and turn to Simon. Change of plans. This isn't about protecting my marriage anymore. This is about teaching consequences. We spend the next hour implementing what Simon calls advanced social engineering. Nothing illegal, but definitely comprehensive. First, I create detailed posts on neighborhood social media groups, complete with photos and timelines, not angry rants, but calm, factual documentation of the affair and its impact on our community. The responses are immediate and overwhelmingly supportive of me. Next, I research Ethan's business connections and start sending anonymous but well-documented reports about his character issues to potential clients and partners. The reviews I promised him start appearing on professional sites. Finally, I access the building management system for his condo complex. It's one of my company's installations, which means I have administrative access for maintenance purposes. What are you doing? Simon asks, watching me type. Ethan's been using the guest parking illegally for weeks. According to the building's lease agreements, that's grounds for fines and potential eviction proceedings. You're going to get him evicted? I'm going to make his life as complicated as he's made mine. My phone rings. Rachel, Jack, you have to stop this. Stop what? Janet fired me. She said I was a liability to the company's reputation. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? Jack, I need this job. We need my income. You should have thought about that before you decided to risk everything for your authentic living. This is insane. You're destroying both our lives out of spite. I'm not destroying anything, Rachel. I'm just removing the safety nets you took for granted while you betrayed me. What do you want? What will it take for you to stop? I consider the question seriously. I want you to experience the full consequences of your choices. No husband covering for you. No friends helping you manage the narrative. No comfortable fallback plan. And then what? Then we'll see who you really are when you can't manipulate the people around you. I hang up and notice Simon staring at me. What? You're scaring me a little, Jack. This is getting intense. Good. It should be intense. She tried to destroy my life while expecting me to smile and provide her with stability. That ends now. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Oliver from Rachel's office. We need to talk. I show Simon, who raises an eyebrow. Rachel's calling in reinforcements. Let them come. I have documentation of Oliver helping coordinate her lies, too. I text back Murphy's Bar 6 p.m. The afternoon passes in a blur of phone calls, emails, and social media management. By 5 p.m., the story of Rachel's affair has spread through most of our social circles. The responses split predictably along gender and generational lines, but the overall sentiment is clear. Rachel betrayed her marriage, and I'm justified in exposing her. More importantly, several people have shared their own stories about Ethan's behavior with other women. Apparently, pursuing married women is a pattern for him. Murphy's Bar is crowded when Oliver arrives at 6 p.m. He's younger than I expected, maybe 30, with the kind of aggressive confidence that comes from never being seriously challenged. Jack, right? I'm Oliver. I know who you are. You helped Rachel coordinate her schedule so she could meet Ethan during work hours. He sits down without being invited. Look, I think you're overreacting to a complicated situation. Am I? Rachel's going through a difficult time. She's questioning her life choices, exploring what makes her happy. That's not a crime. You're right. Having an affair isn't a crime. It's just a betrayal of everything she promised me when we got married. Marriage is complicated. People change, grow apart, develop different needs. I signal the bartender for 2 Wiseys, then turn to face Oliver directly. Tell me something. If you were married and your wife was sleeping with another man while using your house and your financial security as her safety net, how would you react? I try to understand her perspective. Her perspective is that I'm boring and predictable and she deserves excitement even if it means lying to me for months. Maybe she was trying to protect your feelings by making me look like a fool to everyone who knew what was happening. By planning her exit strategy while pretending everything was normal. Oliver shifts uncomfortably. What do you want from me? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. Rachel lost her job because she used company resources for personal business. Ethan's losing clients because his character is now public knowledge. And I pull out my phone and show him a screenshot. You sent Rachel advice on how to manage Jack's emotional reactions while she transitioned to an open marriage. That's a text message from your personal phone to hers sent during work hours. His face goes pale. Janet's very interested in how her employees spend their time and company resources, especially now that she's dealing with the fallout from Rachel's situation. You can't threaten my job. I'm not threatening anything. I'm just being honest about the documentation I have and the people who might be interested in seeing it. I finish my whiskey and stand up. Here's the thing, Oliver. You thought this was a game. Help Rachel have her fun. Maybe get some excitement yourself by being part of the drama. But this isn't a game. This is my life, my marriage, my reputation that you helped her destroy. I was just being a friend. You were being an enabler. There's a difference. I drop money on the bar and head for the exit. Give Rachel a message for me. Tell her that every person who helped her betray me is going to experience the same level of honesty she brought to our marriage. Outside, Simon is waiting in his SUV. How'd it go? Oliver is going to have an interesting conversation with his boss tomorrow. And Ethan? I check my phone. 3 missed calls from him in the last hour. Ethan's discovering that his trust fund doesn't protect him from social consequences. We drive back toward my neighborhood, passing the house I've shared with Rachel for 8 years. The lights are on and I can see her silhouette in the living room window. You going home tonight? Simon asks. Not yet. I want her to sit with the uncertainty a little longer. Where to then? Your place. Tomorrow we implement the final phase, which is I look at the house one more time, thinking about 15 years of marriage reduced to this moment. Tomorrow, Rachel learns the difference between consequences and revenge. Monday morning arrives with the kind of cold rain that makes everything in Maine look gray and unforgiving. I'm sitting in my truck outside the courthouse, watching Ethan pace back and forth under the covered entrance, phone pressed to his ear. His conversation looks heated. Lots of gesturing and frustrated body language. Simon taps my shoulder and points toward the parking lot. There's Rachel. She's getting out of her car, moving like someone who hasn't slept in days. Her usual polished appearance has been replaced by jeans, sneakers, and a wrinkled sweater. She looks older, smaller, like the weight of consequences is physically crushing her. Phase 5. Simon asks. Phase 5. I get out of the truck and walk toward the courthouse entrance. Rachel sees me coming and stops walking. Jack. Rachel. Ethan ends his phone call and approaches us. This is harassment. I'm filing a restraining order. On what grounds? You've been stalking me, threatening my business, interfering with my personal relationships. I pull out my phone and open the voice recording app. Please elaborate on these threats. I'd like to document your accusations. You know what you did. I know what I did. I exposed your affair with my wife to our community. I shared factual information about your character with people who might do business with you. I exercised my legal right to honest expression. You ruined my reputation. No, your behavior ruined your reputation. I just made sure people knew about it. Rachel steps between us. Jack, please. This has gone far enough. Has it? Because from where I'm standing, you're both still trying to control the narrative instead of accepting responsibility for your choices. What do you want? She asks, and her voice breaks slightly. I want you to understand something. For 15 years, I provided you with stability, security, and trust. I worked 60-hour weeks to maintain the lifestyle you wanted. I supported your career, your friendships, your dreams. I know that. Do you? Because when you got bored with stability, when you decided you deserved excitement, you didn't end our marriage honorably. You didn't ask for a divorce or suggest counseling or even have the courage to tell me you were unhappy. Tears are running down her face now. Instead, you lied to me for months while planning your exit strategy. You used our house, our bed, our marriage as your safety net while you explored other options. You mocked me to your friends and made me look like a fool to our neighbors. I never meant to hurt you. You meant to have your affair and keep me as your backup plan. The hurt was just collateral damage you were willing to accept. Ethan tries to interrupt. This is between you and Rachel. No, it's between all of us now. You made it that way when you decided my wife was available. I step closer to him. Close enough that he takes an involuntary step backward. You researched me, didn't you? Before you started sleeping with my wife, you made sure I wasn't the type to cause problems. Quiet engineer, predictable routine, probably won't make a scene. I don't know what you're talking about. Rachel told you I was boring, safe, that I'd probably just accept whatever she decided to do. I can see in his eyes that I'm right. You were wrong. I'm not safe. I'm controlled. And you just destroyed my control. Jack, you're scaring me. Rachel says, good. You should be scared. You should both be scared because you have no idea what I'm capable of when someone tries to destroy my life. I pull out a manila envelope and hand it to Rachel. Divorce papers. I filed them this morning. No fault, but with a complete financial disclosure that documents how you used marital assets to support your affair. Her hands shake as she opens the envelope. You're also being evicted from our house. It's in my name only, purchased before our marriage. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Jack, you can't. I can. I consulted with 3 lawyers over the weekend. Everything I'm doing is completely legal. I turned to Ethan. Your trust fund has been frozen pending an investigation into some irregularities your family's financial advisor discovered. Apparently, someone sent them detailed information about your recent spending patterns and character issues. That's impossible, is it? Rich families protect their money very carefully. When they learn that their trust fund beneficiary is using family money to break up marriages, they tend to take defensive action. Ethan's face goes white. You can't do this. I didn't do anything. I just made sure the right people had access to accurate information about your behavior. Rachel is reading through the divorce papers, her face getting paler with each page. Jack, this will leave me with nothing. It will leave you with exactly what you brought to our marriage. Your clothes, your car, your personal belongings. Everything else was built with my income and my labor while you were planning to betray me. I need time to find a job, somewhere to live. You should have thought about that before you got yourself fired for using company resources to coordinate your affair. This is cruel. This is honest. You wanted radical honesty in our relationship. This is what it looks like. I look around at the 3 of us standing in the rain outside the courthouse. You both thought you were so clever. The bored housewife and the wealthy playboy having their exciting affair while the boring husband provided stability and security. It wasn't like that. Rachel says it was exactly like that. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. Keep me as your safety net while you explored your authentic self with Ethan. What if we end it? Ethan asks suddenly. What if I leave town and Rachel comes back to you? Can we work something out? I stare at him for a long moment, then start laughing. You think this is a negotiation? You think I want her back after everything she's done? Don't you, Ethan? You can have her. You've already destroyed everything I valued about her anyway. Rachel makes a sound like she's been slapped. But here's the thing. You're both going to discover that excitement and authenticity don't pay the bills. Rachel's unemployed with no references and a reputation for using company resources inappropriately. You're about to lose your trust fund and most of your clients. I start walking back toward my truck. Jack, wait. Rachel calls after me. I turn back one more time. For 15 years, you had a husband who would have done anything for you, who worked himself exhausted to give you the life you wanted, who trusted you completely and never questioned your loyalty. I know you threw that away for a few months of excitement with a man who's too cowardly to face the consequences of his own actions. I look at both of them standing in the rain looking smaller and more pathetic than I ever imagined possible. You deserve each other. I get in my truck and drive away, leaving them standing in the courthouse parking lot with the wreckage of their carefully planned affair. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting at Murphy's bar on a Friday night, nursing a beer and watching the local news on the mounted TV. The lead story is about a financial fraud investigation involving several prominent local families. Ethan's name appears in the 3rd paragraph. Simon slides onto the bar stool next to me. Rough day at the office. Actually, it was a great day. Installed a security system for the Hendersons. They specifically requested me because they heard I was thorough and discreet. Word-of-mouth advertising, the best kind. The bartender, Mike, refills my beer without being asked. How you holding up, Jack? Heard things got pretty messy with Rachel. Things got honest with Rachel. There's a difference. She was in here last night, you know, with that friend of hers, Jade. Both of them pretty drunk, talking loud about how you ruined her life. What did you tell them? Told them they were welcome to drink, but if they wanted to badmouth customers, they could do it somewhere else. I raise my beer in salute. Appreciated. The door opens and Oliver walks in looking around nervously until he spots me. He approaches slowly like he's not sure of his reception. Jack, can I buy you a drink? I've got one, but you can sit if you want. He takes the stool on my other side and orders a whiskey. I wanted to apologize. For what? Specifically? For helping Rachel lie to you. For thinking it was just harmless drama instead of this. This Rachel's living in a studio apartment across town, working at a call center. Ethan moved back in with his parents after his trust fund got frozen. Half our social circle won't talk to either of them. And you feel bad about that? Oliver considers the question while sipping his whiskey. I feel bad about my part in it. I thought I was helping a friend navigate a complicated situation. I didn't realize I was helping her destroy her marriage. You were helping her have her cake and eat it, too. Keep me as her stability while she had her fun with Ethan. Yeah, I can see that now. We sit in silence for a few minutes watching the news cycle through weather and sports. Can I ask you something? Oliver says, sure. Did you plan all this from the beginning? The public exposure, the job consequences, the financial stuff. I think about the question seriously. No, I plan to document everything and protect myself legally. The rest just happened naturally once people knew the truth about their behavior. It seems like a lot. It is a lot. But that's what happens when you try to destroy someone's life. The consequences tend to multiply. Do you regret any of it? I regret that it was necessary. I regret that Rachel chose betrayal over honesty, excitement over loyalty, authenticity over integrity. But you don't regret exposing them, Oliver. They were planning to make me look like a fool while they had their affair. They were using my house, my money, my trust as their safety net. While they explored their options, they mocked me to their friends and made detailed plans for managing my emotional reactions. I know. So, no, I don't regret making sure everyone knew who they really were. The door opens again and Mrs. Penn walks in, which is unusual because she's not much of a drinker. She spots me and waves. Jack, dear, I was hoping I'd find you here. Mrs. Penn, everything all right? Oh, yes. Everything's fine. I just wanted you to know that Rachel stopped by this afternoon. Oh. She wanted to know if I'd seen you bringing any women around. I told her that was none of her business anymore and she should focus on her own situation. What did she say to that? She said you were vindictive and cruel and that she never realized how cold you could be. Mrs. Penn sits down on the stool Simon vacated. I told her that 15 years of marriage should have taught her something about your character. And if she was surprised by your reaction to betrayal, she obviously wasn't paying attention. You said that? I certainly did. That girl made her choices and now she's unhappy with the consequences. That's not your problem anymore. Mike brings Mrs. Penn a cup of coffee without being asked. Besides, she continues, half the neighborhood saw that young man's car in your driveway for weeks. If she wanted to keep her affair secret, she should have been more discreet. Small towns, I observe. Small towns with long memories, she corrects. Rachel's going to be dealing with this reputation for years. Oliver finishes his whiskey and stands up. I should get going. Jack again. I'm sorry for my part in all this. Oliver. Yeah. Learn something from this. When someone asks you to help them lie to their spouse, the answer should be no. Understood. After he leaves, Mrs. Penn and I sit quietly for a while. The bar is filling up with the usual Friday night crowd, but our corner feels peaceful. Can I ask you something, dear? Mrs. Penn says. Of course. Are you happy? I consider the question carefully. I'm satisfied. For the first time in months, I feel like I'm living in reality instead of someone else's carefully constructed fiction. That's something. It's everything. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me check. This is Rachel. I need to talk to you. It's important. I show Mrs. Penn, who raises an eyebrow. What do you think she wants? Probably money or help finding a better job. Or maybe she wants to apologize and see if there's any chance of reconciliation. Is there? I delete the text without responding. No. Good for you. The door opens and Ethan walks in, which surprises everyone. He looks around the bar nervously, spots me, and approaches slowly. Jack, I need to talk to you. We've talked enough. Please, just 5 minutes. Mrs. Penn looks back and forth between us with interest. 5 minutes? I agree. Ethan sits down where Oliver was. He looks terrible, unshaven, wearing clothes that need washing. The kind of desperate appearance that comes from having your comfortable life suddenly disappear. I want to make a deal, he says. What kind of deal? I'll leave town permanently, move to another state, never contact Rachel again, never come back here. In exchange, you stop whatever you're doing to destroy my life. I'm not doing anything to destroy your life. I'm just making sure people know who you really are. My family cut me off. My business contacts won't return my calls. I can't get a lease on an apartment because landlords Google my name and find all the stuff about the affair. That sounds like a natural consequence of your choices. Jack, please. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences, but you're not sorry you tried to destroy my marriage. I never meant. You meant to sleep with my wife while I was working to support her. You meant to use my house for your meetings. You meant to help her lie to me for months while she figured out her exit strategy. Ethan's hands are shaking slightly. What do you want from me? I want you to experience the full consequences of your actions. No shortcuts, no deals, no easy way out. For how long? For as long as it takes. Takes for what? I finish my beer and look at him directly. For you to understand that other people's marriages aren't your playground. I stand up and put money on the bar. Mrs. Penn, would you like a ride home? That would be lovely, dear. We walk toward the exit, leaving Ethan sitting alone at the bar. Outside, the rain has stopped and stars are visible between the clouds. That was satisfying, Mrs. Penn observes. It was honest. Same thing in this case. I drive Mrs. Penn home, then head to my own house. It's quiet now, just the way I like it. No drama, no lies, no carefully managed conversations designed to manipulate my reactions. I pour myself a whiskey and sit in my workshop surrounded by the tools and equipment that represent my real life. Not the fiction Rachel created where I was boring and predictable, but the reality where I'm competent, thorough, and dangerous when threatened. My phone rings. Rachel again. This time I answer. What do you want, Rachel? I want to come home. This isn't your home anymore, Jack. I made a terrible mistake. I threw away everything good in my life for a few months of excitement that meant nothing. It meant enough for you to lie to me for months. I was confused, unhappy, looking for something I thought was missing from my life. And now I know that what I was missing was appreciation for what I already had. I sip my whiskey and look around my peaceful workshop. Rachel, do you know what the difference is between you and me? What? When I was unhappy in our marriage, I worked harder to fix it. When you were unhappy, you decided to replace it. I want to fix it now. You can't fix it. You can only live with the consequences of breaking it. Jack, please. Rachel, I spent 15 years building a life with someone I thought I knew. Someone I trusted completely, someone I would have done anything for. You did know me. No, I knew the version of you that existed when it was convenient. When being a loyal wife didn't interfere with your other desires. People make mistakes. You made choices, dozens of them, over months of planning and lying and betraying everything we built together. I'm sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry there were consequences. Sorry your plan didn't work out the way you expected. I'm sorry I hurt you. No, Rachel. You're sorry you destroyed your own life in the process of trying to hurt me. I hang up and turn off my phone. Outside it starts raining again. The kind of steady downpour that washes everything clean. I sit in my workshop listening to the rain on the roof, thinking about 15 years of marriage that ended with 3 weeks of radical honesty. Tomorrow, I'll start building a new life. Not the careful, accommodating existence I maintained while Rachel planned her betrayal, but something real and honest and entirely my own. Tonight, I'm satisfied with the knowledge that actions have consequences, that betrayal has a price, and that the quiet guy isn't always the weak guy. Rachel wanted authenticity. Ethan wanted excitement. They both got exactly what they asked for. And I got something better. The truth about who they really were and who I really am. When someone tries to destroy my life, the rain continues, washing away the last traces of my old life and preparing the ground for whatever comes next.